Okay, we're ready. It's now after 6:30. We're going to go to Fire, Police, and Civil Defense with Mr. Mahan to discuss the USDA grant for the police station.
Thank you, sir. Who's from the administration is going to give us the... Brian, okay. While Brian's coming up, 1 second, please, sir.
Yep.
There is also a grant called the SAFER Grant tonight. I intend to take that to its third reading because it is a renewal, and it's already paying for 3 of our firefighters, and there's some time issues on that. So the SAFER Grant tonight, any questions on that? I intend to take it to its third reading tonight. It's a renewal. Okay. This USDA grant, also intend to take it to its third reading tonight. This is second, but we're going to take it to its third. Mr. Ball, I think the question, like if I can anticipate the questions, is this is an application for federal aid, and it does not obligate us to anything. It's just simply an attempt to get some aid. Could you explain that further for us?
Yeah, so it's a combination. So we're applying for grant and low interest loan. The primary purpose is the low interest loan. There's more, for this project, there is substantially more loan and substantially less grant available nationwide, but it does kind of create a great opportunity to where we take this out. It's a longer term loan, it's low interest. We'll have more details as we get closer. So this is just allowing us to do the application, and then along the way, the mayor, Tanner, and all of us done everything we can to maintain qualification for federal aid. So the critical step, we need to turn the application in, then they need to review our contract with the architect. So council has duly authorized us to advertise and enter into contract for design and design services for an architect, but we need to make sure the USDA finds all of the terms and conditions and things acceptable, and they won't review it until we have the application turned in. And we can't turn the application in until we have permission from city council. So we were trying to count, we've got to come back probably 4 more times for permission before we are actually out there digging and signing larger numbers on the dotted lines. So this gets us in the game and keeps things rolling at the quick step.
And if we approved you to apply for this, then you'd have to come back for permission to accept the loan and to get the grant.
Well, so the next, basically we will come to you with what the architects say would be a guaranteed maximum price. And that's where we'd be asking for permission to enter the construction contract. And at that point, we would be kind of bundling everything up to be, we're going to go this way for financing, we're going to go this way for construction, and that's where you kind of would be putting the final permission slip on how we're going to pay for it and how we're going to build it.
Okay, understood.
So there'll be a lot more information, and then we'll have Dan is getting involved, our new auditor, but at this point, it's just providing general documents. We'll get into the and those decisions also as we look at the bigger picture, right? Because you're going to have big picture questions. So it may be best for us to go with 100% loan on the police station, and then we would do some other financing for one of the other 2 projects, or maybe we say, USDA, we need your help on the police station and the courthouse. So it's sort of dialing in how much cash do we pay, how much loan do we take out. As we're retooling and refocusing the other projects, we still have a lot of choices to make. And it may make sense that this project we don't put any cash in and we put cash into other projects. There's a lot of decisions to make, and none of those questions are answered tonight. But this is a critical check mark to keep us clicking away, because the chief has $2 million with a deadline.
And eight months is already gone.
Right, and we're behind the 8 ball, so
Yeah,
by 8 months, so pun intended, obviously.
Councilman Severns and I were in a meeting. The auditor was in that meeting, and met with our consultants, and, you know, this is gonna be phased, a lot of phases to this, but applying for this grant applying for this loan is the first step, well, one of the steps, so.
Yep.
Questions from council, from Mr. Ball or the administration?
So with the overall crystal ball, are we looking at bonds? You know, I know you said we don't know how we're gonna fund it totally, but if we're looking at loans versus other methods, either way, are we looking at a bond?
Well, so in the technical aspect, they will basically, they will sell their own bonds and from the treasury, and then we will essentially have a loan. We do have to do what's called interim financing. So the USDA doesn't pay until the project is complete and acceptable to all their standards. So during construction, we'll have to do some interim financing. So we will have to get some bonds or some loans from private placement from local banks, most likely. So at the end of the day, it'll be just like a loan. The wastewater plant has several state, federal combos that we pay those bills a couple times a year. So it will be a loan through the U.S. government backed by U.S. treasuries, if that makes sense.
It all counts towards our general indebtedness. We have a certain maximum indebtedness, whether it's through a bonding or through a loan. So that's the one thing that we cannot exceed.
Without public voter approval.
We can exceed to a certain level. We can go up to a certain level without voter approval, and then we can go higher with voter approval, but there's still a maximum amount based upon the amount of real property taxation within the city limits.
Yep. And then also please remember that the enterprise funds, so water, wastewater, stormwater, don't count for or against that. So what Aaron's doing is completely separate financially, legally from what we're doing with the police station. So I know it looks like we're doing a lot of things, but as far as this slice of the operation, we're working out of the general fund. And the other thing to remember, I don't know exactly how we have it. You know, we started in 2017 with a savings account, more specifically for the courthouse or the plaza building replacement. So we have been planning for this for many years, and we've been everyone should know the plaza building needs to be replaced. If you haven't taken a tour, if you haven't seen the crack log, whatever we're going to do, we got to get out, right?
Understood.
So if we have to move the police department temporarily, that's going to be very disruptive, very costly. The best thing we can do is move the police department into the new building
As soon as possible.
as soon as possible. So that will save us money. And the mayor and I and Tanner joke continuously, the payment plan is to turn off the electric meter where we were paying $12,000 to $15,000 a month in electric. We talked about the sustainability concepts. The new building will have insulation. It will have some, the laws of today require insulation. The laws of the 70s, pretty loose, right? So
Thank
we
you,
will
Mr. Ball.
make some
We're,
payments. Yeah.
I'm 5 minutes over, so we'll go ahead and move. I'm taking that to its final reading tonight.
All right, thank you. We're going to adjourn the Fire, Police, and Civil Defense Committee to move now to Streets and Public Buildings with Mr. Severance to discuss the property transfer to the land bank.
Yes, we are going to discuss primarily, Mr. Sawyers will lead this discussion on Resolution 2025-42, which is some property that we currently own. So I'll let Tanner kind of take it from here.
Thank you, Council. Mr. Filkins, if you want to walk up there, go ahead. All right, so we have two parcels and a parking lot on Gay Street across from what is now the Mount Vernon, what we all know as the Mount Vernon News Building, which I'm sure Mr. Filkins does not like to refer to it as the Mount Vernon News Building at this point.
Former.
Former
Key
Mount Vernon,
word.
there we go. Former Mount Vernon News Building, okay. Probably late December, Phil Harold with the downtown, on the parking company that we subsidize with bed tax dollars, contacted me and said that he had spoken with Sam and said that that particular lot, so again, 2 parcels, 1 parking lot, that particular lot, which is all by reservation, they have a hard time filling up. I think there's just a handful of spots that are filled up that do not pay reservation fees.
They haven't been billed.
They haven't been billed, okay. And therefore, one could surmise that they have not paid those. But they have a hard time filling them up, and they don't really know what the point is for the parking company to continue maintaining it or the city to continue maintaining it. And they thought, now I want to express this to everybody, this was not the city coming up with this idea. This was Phil Harold saying it would probably be a good idea to transfer this over to the land bank, given that it was the land bank that's fixing, upgrading Mount Vernon News Building. Now, former Mount Vernon News Building. So, just so everybody knows, the Mount Vernon News Building, in addition to housing several occupants, is also going to house a food court that the public can enjoy. So, gonna kind of be a renaissance on that corner of the street where there is 1 lot that is not public parking during the day, and then the parking lot right next to it is now by reservation only. The plan, so at the last council meeting, a gentleman came in and said that, that we didn't think this all the way through and that there was going to be development that was going to go on this lot. That's not true. The whole idea here was that this would go from a city-owned, by reservation only lot transferred to the land bank where there are about 43 spots, is that correct?
Yep, correct.
10 to 15 of those would become reserved spots for the occupants of the former Mount Vernon News Building. The current tenant or the current reservees that have spots right now would be offered spots, but they would of course have to pay. And I think right now most of those use those for overflow spots. Chances are they wouldn't, but they would have that opportunity. And then the remaining, 25 to 35 spots, depending, would be public parking. So we would go from a parking lot next to what will soon be a food court plus for the public, go from a reservation-only lot to a public parking lot that the city has to maintain versus now private maintenance. It was brought up that the city inevitably used taxpayer dollars to purchase these lots. Well, that each of those lots was purchased, each of those parcels were purchased in 1970 for $1 a piece, which in fairness with inflation is equal to $8.11 today. And I, being the strong-armed guy that I am, Sam has agreed to pay $8.50 per parcel. So, hope I won't break your back there, Sam. All right.
If I could,
Yep.
hi, hello, Sam Filkins. I work with the Land Bank. It's good to be here with you. I think Tanner hit on a couple things. Currently, you are subsidizing the lot through the parking company with bed tax. We are not requesting bed tax to be used to maintain that lot. We will need to create an HOA for that building, which will include the maintenance of that parking lot in those fees. So we're going to make it look nice at the beginning, which is great, and then the rest will be for ongoing maintenance. It'll be a smaller fee for those new owners. So yeah, we're creating more public parking, reducing the bed tax burden on the city, and going to bring a lot of vibrancy downtown. Those spots will not be reserved. There will be a few that will be reserved for staff from 9 to 5 for the office space. Similar to the way that the MVNU lot just north of that is reserved until I think about 5 p.m. and then becomes public parking after that. The remainder of the spots that are not reserved or not reserved through the current tenants that have spaces there would be public parking. So we're looking to add at least 20 spots of public parking in downtown. So I think that's all good. The land bank's very excited about our new project at 18 East Vine, and of course this parking lot does directly serve our needs there, but we're not going to take attendance, so if you park there and you want to go shop at a different, Paragraphs or someplace else downtown, that's fine too. So, and in case you're curious, also on Gay Street, the MVNU lot switches over at, I believe, 5 to become public, and the COTC lot switches over to become public as well. So right along Gay Street, is where most of the public parking is. And when Brian helps reduce the truck traffic on there eventually, that'll help for crossing the road.
Next year, mark your calendar.
What questions
Are we
can
handing
I?
the lot over, this is the proposal to hand the lot over as is or with some maintenance done or?
So the lot was already on the improvements list. We're gonna work out some sort of, if it's council's wishes, we'll work out some sort of agreement, and we've already sent some sort of cost shares over. If we can, they will never be able to improve the lot for the price that we can improve it, since we have a contractor coming in and doing everything. So what we will likely do is say, all right, here, and I think Mr. Epley and Brian have already kind of shown some of these sheets, and I can share these with council if you'd like. This would be the material cost and some of the labor costs that the land bank would have to shoulder. So basically, they would be shouldering a lot of these costs, and it would really be up to them if they want to bring it up to, the Cadillac standard, if you will,
Okay.
or, so it would carry on at this, this project, and they would have to pay for that. But, yeah, that would really be, or if they just want to come in and give it a nice glossy clear coat and repaint the lines.
It needs a little bit more than that after
Yeah,
we've been using it for some construction parking, but yeah.
Understood.
So,
Any other questions?
Go ahead. Anybody else? Council, other questions?
I'm curious why we're declaring this an emergency at the end here, on the end of the resolution.
yeah, so,
What this would do, all this would say is that it would go into effect immediately. We would not have to wait 30 days for them to start acting. That's all that
yeah.
means.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people misunderstand what declaring an emergency means. We didn't name it that. That's just the way the state or the state code names it. But I think people misconstrue what those mean. So declaring an emergency, if it's at the end, you'll see a lot of the resolutions or ordinances say declaring an emergency. That just means that as soon as council does its readings and passes it with a 2/3 majority, then it means it goes into effect as soon as the mayor signs it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
So people want government to operate like a business. This makes it operate more smoothly and, instead of arbitrarily waiting 30 days.
And I think, council, I will just give this a second reading tonight. So when that happens, Lenny, and as well, basically, the public has 6 weeks to comment from when this starts to when we would finally pass or not pass it. So there is a time where they can speak.
Excellent.
All right, I think that's good for now. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
That concludes, I'm good there. Thank you.
We're gonna adjourn the Police and Public Buildings Committee. Gonna move now to Land Use and Development with
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Mayor.
you taking over from Mrs. Skinner.
Yeah, the second chairing this tonight. Council, you've received information. Well, many of us were at the presentation of the Knox County Comprehensive Plan, and then we've received information in our email about it. Mr. Gaki, I think you're going to come in and fill us in on some of those details, and I am second chair of this, so I haven't been in a conversation with you and Mrs. Keener, but I was told you're ready to go.
The screen? No.
No, it's only a few minutes. I talked to Councilwoman Keener this afternoon. She said she wanted me to cover the participation portion of that, and you could do the rest, but I'm happy to do whatever the rest is. We'll figure it out as we go in the next 6 minutes or something. So, like Councilman Mahan said, many of you were at that joint meeting. As a reminder, Together Knox is the county comprehensive plan update. The last one was done in 2019. Time for a new one. It's kind of a four-party effort between the county commissioners, Regional Planning Commission, Area Development Foundation, and you all. The city was kind of an addition. Normally, these things are done through regional planning and the county, but given kind of where the city's at in terms of its development needs and pressures that it's experiencing, that the administration thought it made sense to have Mount Vernon be a partner and have its own chapter, that growth strategy chapter that's in the back, that's dedicated just to growth within the city, but it's also incorporated, or it sort of talks to the wider county plan. They share a lot of the same principles and values, tactics, things like that. So this began in November of 23 when regional planning first started discussing it, and here we are now at the final stages for the commissioners and then for you all to approve it, and then that will be it. Hoping that that will happen in April. Commissioners have scheduled their public hearings so that they can make their final decision. I believe this is the first reading for you all, so maybe another month or so, and then off we go to implement the thing, right? So it's a long time coming. We had pretty robust public engagement, over about 1,400 participants weighed in on this, mostly over last summer and fall. Over 10,000 unique pieces of data that included public feedback, points on a map, comments that are cataloged and connected to the points on the map, as well as data using a variety of data sources, Census Bureau, IRS, et cetera, et cetera. So it really was this kind of comprehensive look at data gathering. And you were at the presentation, you heard the principles, you heard the strategies. So I believe the rest of this is, we can talk about what those were if you like, or we can have some general comments, feedback, opinions. This is only your first reading, so there'll be 2 more and probably a public meeting involved, not a public hearing, a public meeting involved as well. Or we can just make up the time we were behind.
Council, I mean, we were at those meetings. There was a lot of good discussion. I appreciate the amount of work that went into this, and honestly, just appreciate the partnering with the city and the county. I think we've had a mixed track record of partnering with that, but the fact that we're working together on this, I think, is important. So, did you have specific questions this evening that would not be answered this evening, but would be questions that could be answered in later meetings?
I'm just sure I'm going to have people asking me questions. Could we have another committee meeting at the next meeting? And then we can shoot questions
Sure.
ahead of time?
I can give you a brief kind of how the framework of the thing is. So each chapter sets out a vision for that focus: conservation, economic development. I forget the third one. Then there's goals that support that vision, and then there's objectives that support each goal, and then actions that carry out the objective. So that's, as you read it and look through it, that's kind of how it flows from the broadest picture down to the action items. The other thing I direct your attention to is the conservation character and development map. Both Mount Vernon and the county have one in that plan. That's a vision casting map. It does not reflect what's existing now. It's kind of where we want to see things go. Of course, existing conditions were part of that. But it looks at, what I really like that map does is it incorporates character of the three-dimensional environment. So this map is two-dimensional, it's just colors on a map. But what this planning group did is said, what really matters about quality of place is the three-dimensional environment. That's what people kind of stick to, right? That's what they feel as they're walking downtown or something. So they created these character types based on what's existing here and some aspirational things, and then assigned those character types to those colors on the maps. So it's not just single family here, it's more about what does this area feel like for the pedestrian, the resident, the motorist, the visitor, et cetera. And that's what I think is really great. And then each of those character types has its own dedicated section that talks about, here's what makes this character type unique, here are some characteristics of it, here are some levers that you all can pull to affect this type in these areas as well. So something else you could direct those people to as well.
Okay. Mr. Hill, if we could, as Councilwoman Woods requested another 10-minute meeting. It might be the shortest meeting ever if there are no questions from the public, but basically that will be for questions that we've received from the public. So, questions this evening for Mr. Gaki. All right. Thank you, sir. Jeff, I think we're going to miss you terribly, but I know you've got
We'll see.
You've got good plans, but you're not leaving us completely, right? You're still going to be.
I'll still live here, but
All right.
I'm going to work somewhere else. But,
In the fourth ward.
I will still live in the fourth ward, so yes, you're going to hear all about it. And I'm a resident now, so guess what? That's right. So you're gonna
Items
hear
of
all about
community
it.
concern time.
That's right. It'll be like the airing of grievances for the Festivus, right? On the subject of saving money, I actually did my city income taxes before I came tonight. I owe 8 cents. I found a dime in my pocket, so I'm going to give this to Tanner for my.
No, it's the treasurer.
Mr. Gaki, thank you for all your work, and we wish you well, but we think it's an enormous mistake for you to leave us, just saying.
Understood. And, the kind of partnership stuff that you were talking about, that's what makes this job really easy. So it's encouraging to see everybody working together and rowing in the same direction. And whoever comes after me, I hope you all keep that up. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for your support over the years.
Thanks.
Is that all?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
I'll take it, it's fine. Okay, Mr. Mahan, we'll move on to rezoning of 0 South Main Street.
Okay. Council, there will be a public meeting 2 weeks, I believe. Is that correct, Mr.?
There will be a public hearing on the third reading of this, which is in 2 weeks, yes.
Yep, okay. I encourage you to, again, watch the most recent Municipal Planning Commission meeting, which is both extremely informative and somewhat entertaining about this property. It's an interesting property, an interesting situation, and there was something called the Lacey Plan that I think you would enjoy digging out of that meeting. But it would be probably helpful if there were any questions from council that the administration. Well, it's really a question. It's our decision. We have a reminder. This was unanimously recommended to us from municipal planning. So, any questions that we want to be ready for in 2 weeks? Or any thoughts? I apologize. I don't know Councilwoman Keener's intentions for this meeting, but I am well versed in the process. So, thoughts or questions on this?
Have any?
All right. I yield back the rest of my time, ma'am.
Okay, well, I guess on that note, we will recess until 7:30.
10 minutes ahead. Jeff, you could have talked longer.
Yeah. We do a type 10 on anything else?
Can you tell me What are these out of, are these supposed to be like humps or something like that?
No, yeah, well, exactly, that's a great way to say it. Currently, that area is all one up,
We need
but
a
grandfathered into that are apartment complexes in that general
Got
area.
it, okay.
So what that
It's good to see you again. Thank you so much for having me. Pick one.
Welcome to City Hall. Come on in.
What's that?
That's amazing.
Synergy, absolutely.
So can you?
Good, thank you.
Figure out how government works.
Oh, great.
No pressure, everybody.
So we have to
No
behave?
pressure.
What's that?
Yeah, that's right, behave yourself. Janice, you specifically.
I was gonna say, as if I didn't need pressure.
No wonder.
Finding lawyers yet?
Oh, jeez. Already? Jeez, Louise.
Right.
It's now 7:30 PM. Going to call the legislative portion of the April 14th, 2025 meeting of City Council to order. And we do have some guests. Is there a professor or someone here? Would you stand up and tell us who's here?
Oh, okay, sure. I'm ready to Zach McGee. I'm a professor at Kenyon College. This is my Congress class, and we're here to learn about the way that local government differs from the national legislature and understand more what's going on just down the street from us, which is really important for the Kenyon experience.
Awesome.
And we're not going to put any tariffs on money coming into Mount Vernon. Okay. Well, thank you and welcome. Calling the meeting to order. Mr. Hill, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hager,
Here.
Mrs. Seabolt,
Here.
Mr. Severance,
Here.
Mr. Mahan,
Here?
Mrs. Woods,
Here,
Mr. Ruckman,
Here.
Ms. Keener.
Is there a move to excuse Mrs. Skinner?
so moved.
Second.
Then move to second, she be excused. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. She is excused. The invocation this evening will be given by George Small. He's a evangelist for the Mount Vernon Nazarene University. He's a registered evangelist. And George, thank you for being here. And please rise to the invocation and remain standing for the pledge.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we would be amiss if we didn't stop to thank you for your many, many blessings. What an opportunity we have to live in this community with so many blessings individually and then as a city. And we thank you, Lord, for the call upon our council members. And we pray that you would give them divine wisdom in all their decisions and all of their relationships and all that they do for our city. We just want you to know that we recognize that it's not so much what we do, but how you bless us. Now be with this meeting tonight especially, and we'll do our best to give you the praise as we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, in your packets are the minutes from the March 24th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? Now I'd ask for a motion for approval.
So move.
Second?
The moved and second they be approved. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. Mr. Hill, any petitions or communications?
There are none.
And council, in your packet are our committee reports for your review. And now we're going to go for persons speaking on matters of city concern. And we have Andrew Pike. Andrew, would you please come up to the podium and state your name and address? Limit your comments to 4 minutes. If you need an extension, let us know.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hawkins. Let's see here. My name is Andrew Pike, and my residence is 914 West High Street here in Mount Vernon. I've spoken before City Council previously on transportation issues, but this evening I'm here on a much more serious matter. The City of Mount Vernon has been holding public meetings, listening tours, for the need for more city buildings in January, February, and March. 3 meetings in each month for each of 3 new facilities. A police department building on Sycamore Road, an expanded or replacement city hall, and a new municipal courthouse as a justice center. I've attended 1 meeting each month, except in March when I was at the first and third meetings for the new courthouse. As city officials went through the details of these buildings, I noticed that they were trying to not say so much as to why there's a need now. So let me give voice to what is not being said. The executive branch and the judicial branch of city government have already heard this at the last meeting in March. This discussion is happening now because of 5 North Gay Street. This 51-year-old building has been reinforced 3 times in less than 20 years, in 2008, 2012, and 2023, the 3rd time under emergency conditions. Therefore, the remaining life of this building should be considered to be 0. The city, in my opinion, will not get another warning before failure. You've already had your final warning. The mayor, in a State of the City speech, has said that all city services now downtown, city council, mayor, auditor, engineering, tax, water billing, and so on, should be moved to the 60,000 square foot office building in Heartland Commerce Park on North Sandusky Street. And municipal court and the law director should go into this city hall that is then expanded with a north annex. I agree, that would work and work well. But 5 North Gay Street needs to be cleared out now before anyone is hurt or killed. There's a suggestion that if the judge was to relocate the court now, let him find the money and pay for it. I do not agree with that. Someone else suggested that the building is so safe, then move city council, the mayor, safety service director, and others into 5 North Gay Street and move the court into this building. I don't agree with that either. No one should be endangered by that building. As I said more than once in these meetings, 5 North Gay Street can be cleared out this year by December 31, 2025, by pushing forward with determination to do precisely that. So what does that look like? The first thing is to close down the parking ramp tomorrow. Having it remain open is an unnecessary public risk. Permit only city-owned vehicles in there and place barricades around the reinforcing I-beams, please. Next, relocate and clear out City Hall this month for April 30, 2025. If more time is needed, May 7th, 2025. Now, the objection to that is that there isn't space to do that. But be innovative, creative. There is space in Mount Vernon. It only needs to be used for 18 months, perhaps 24 months. Then bring in the civil engineering and design teams to refit City Hall. Complete the design by the end of May. You have 2 designs. You're moving 14,000 square feet into 12,600 square feet. Make refitted City Hall to be used for both the 2nd and 3rd floors of 5 North Gay Street now, and also to be used without any changes when the North Annex is built for both municipal court and the law director and anyone else for the judiciary. Next, sign off on construction for refitting City Hall as a municipal courthouse. You should have 6 months to get that completed by December 1st, 2025, or no later than December 15th, 2025. Use the remaining weeks of December to move the 2nd and 3rd floors of 5 North Gay Street into the newly refitted municipal court. That will reduce the structural loading.
Mike, would you like to have an extension? Your 4 minutes are up. Would you like to ask for an extension?
May I please have an extension, sir?
Council?
Yes.
Extension. Yeah, 4 more minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That will reduce the structural loading on 5 North Gay Street. The police department can then be moved to temporary quarters, and you're free to take down 5 North Gay Street before it takes itself down. And you're done with that building. Complete the new police department and move them into it. Finish the rehabilitation of the Heartland office building and move the city legislative and executive into there by the end of 2026 or 2027. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, and I know that you have had questions for me on the past about transportation, but if you have any questions of my opinion on this matter, I think that this should be moved quickly with speed now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pike. See no one else wanting to speak on matters of city concern, so move into the legislative portion of the meeting. Council, in your packet was the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I'll assume it's approved by consensus. We have no resolutions this evening for third reading. We have some for second reading. The first one is resolution number 2025-41. Mr. Hill.
Resolution number 2025-41, a resolution authorizing and directing the Safety Service Director to prepare and submit an application for a United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, rural development grant for the construction of the new police department building at 71 Syker Road, Mount Vernon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mahan.
Thank you, sir. I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 separate readings and take resolution number 2025-41 to its third and final reading this evening.
Second.
Been moved and seconded for the suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Hill.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mrs. Seabolt,
Yes.
Mr. Severns,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan,
Yes.
Mrs. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
The roll is suspended. Mr. Mahan.
Sir, I move to adopt resolution number 2025-41.
Second.
Been moved and seconded for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr.
Council,
Mahan.
we had a committee meeting on this. Are there any further questions before we take this to the vote?
So what's the deadline to apply?
Mr. Ball?
Yeah, it's a rolling application, so I don't know that there's a specific deadline. The money's available until appropriations run out, so I think we want to apply as soon as possible.
Yeah, the issue is, for this, is not so much the deadline for the USDA grant or loan, is that we want to get the ball rolling because we have the 2 million in the one-time strategic fund that the clock's ticking on.
So do they know like a determination date if we apply? They
We-
give you a timeline?
We've met with them starting last summer, so they know how, they have been in the building, they have been in the parking garage, so this is a priority project, so as soon as we can get this on there, they're ready to go.
And if I may, and Jay and Mel were in this conversation too. We met with, I think he alluded to us meeting with our consultants. Pizzuti Solutions is meeting with us. We've been talking with BKV. I think they'll be our design team. We've got a lot of moving parts to this. One of the things that we talked with Pizzuti about is having almost like a table setting document to show you guys like the roadmap to a lot of this, so you know what to expect. That way we're not just fire hosing you with legislation. You can see what's coming and you know what to expect in the process. And there's kind of like a subcategory of this is what this does. That way you know how many bites to the apple you have in your stop gaps and all this process and what, the different elements of these things are. But again, like Brian said, this is a rolling application. It's not so much the timeline on the USDA grant loans. It's so much that we've got $2 million specifically for construction, not design, from leftover ARPA money at the state level, which was that one-time strategic funds. So
That roadmap you talked about would be very helpful, because I know Rusty LT grants have matches, and how we're going to pay our match would be very helpful.
yeah,
Yep.
and they're going to string those together not only for this, but if we do a municipal court project, if we do a city hall project, if we do in the same way with Arcadis, with a look at the wastewater projects. So that's the goal, is we don't want to just show up and be like, we're going to spend some money. We're gonna show you like a structured detail of this is what the design is and this is what we're looking at and how we're going to get there.
Thank you.
Yeah, but tonight, this is all we're voting on tonight is submitting this application.
Yes, I think Mr. Mahan compared it to filling out the FAFSA. So very.
To get our student loans.
Yes, we're
that's-
trying to
that's
get our
exactly what I
student
said.
That helpful back there? I don't know.
Any other discussion? Mr. Hill?
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mrs. Seaval,
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan,
Yes.
Mrs. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Resolution is adopted. Next resolution is resolution number 2025-42. Mr. Hill.
Resolution number 2025-42, a resolution authorizing the city to transfer fee simple title to one or more parcels of commercial real property owned by the city of Mount Vernon to the Knox County Land Reutilization Corporation for purposes of economic development and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Severns.
Yes, we will give this a second reading tonight.
This resolution received its second reading. Now we move to resolutions for first reading. The first one is resolution number 2025-45. Mr. Hill.
Resolution number 2025-45, a resolution authorizing and directing the Safety Service Director to prepare and submit an application to the Federal Emergency Management Agency for the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response SAFER grant and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes, sir. I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 separate readings. Take resolution 2025-45 to its third and final reading.
Second?
Been moved and seconded for the suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Hill.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mrs. Seaval,
Yes.
Mr. Severns,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Mrs. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
The rule is suspended. Mr. Mahan.
I move for adoption of resolution number 2025-45.
Second.
Been moved and seconded for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Mahan.
Council, as we spoke briefly, this is applying for a renewal of a grant that we already have that is currently funding 3 of our firefighters. And administration has asked that we pass this quickly so they can begin to work on the renewal.
The application process has not yet opened, but our grant writer has prepared the documents. We have about just north of $300,000 in SAFER funds that fund 3 firefighters. So we would like to be first in line. That assumes that FEMA is still a thing.
Just so our guests know what we're doing by suspending the rules, we have a rule in council that you have to have 3 readings before it can be voted on, unless you suspend the rules. And at certain times, council decides that they need to suspend the rules to move it more quickly, and that's what they're asking tonight, is to move it more quickly. It's why we're suspending the rules rather than taking it to 3 separate readings. Mr. Hill.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mrs. Seaval,
Yes.
Mr. Severns,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Mrs. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Resolution is adopted. Now we move to resolution number 2025-46. Mr. Hill.
Resolution number 2025-46, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to dispose of vehicles in the police department not needed for public use by the city of Mount Vernon and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Seaval.
Thank you. I would like to suspend the rules that require 3 separate readings and take resolution number 2025-46 to its third and final reading.
Second.
Been moved and seconded for suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Hill.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mrs. Seaval,
Yes.
Mr. Severns,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Mrs. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
The rule is suspended. Mrs. Seaval.
I move to adopt resolution number 2025-46.
Second.
Been moved and seconded for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mrs. Seaval.
Thank you. Well, I see the chiefs all there wanting to talk about our 2012 Chevrolet. Ooh, we've got some good vehicles here.
They sound better than they probably are.
Oh,
Again, real briefly, this is our standard thing that we bring to you guys every couple of months where we request permission to sell vehicles we've taken into the inventory through the impound lot that people haven't claimed for one reason or another. And now that Mr. Brinkman assisted me in helping us figure out a path where we place the money, we turn that money around and we utilize it for other purposes within the police department when it comes back into the city. So,
thank you. Any questions?
I think we could create a new website cardeals.kenyon.edu, and some of these college students might want to buy one of these. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anybody out there want a 1999 Dodge Ram truck?
yeah, the little lady drove it.
It may even run. Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mrs. Seaval,
Yes,
Mr. Severns,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan,
Yes.
Mrs. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Resolution is adopted. Now we move to resolution number 2025-47. Mr. Hill.
Resolution number 2025-47, a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT Cooperative Purchasing Program for road salt for 2025 and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Seabold.
thank you. I would like to suspend the rules that require 3 separate readings and take resolution number 2025-47 to its third and final reading.
Second.
Then move to second for suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Hill.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mrs. Seaval,
Yes,
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Mrs. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
The rule is suspended. Mrs. Seabold.
thank you. I move to adopt resolution number 2025-47.
Second.
And move to second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mrs. Seabold.
Thank you. Well, it's the time of year for us to start planning for salt for our roads.
So I think we have, what, 400 tons left somewhere in that?
Somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah.
We,
Used about
1,300
1,300
tons
this year.
and
So,
we're wanting to purchase 1,500 tons for next year. So hopefully we're through all of the wintry weather.
build a nice,
Your crystal ball,
I'm not
that's
trying
what
to
you're
tempt fate.
predicting.
big, beautiful barn to put it all in,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just so you know, it's 101 degrees yesterday in Phoenix when I was there. so-
Okay, Bruce.
And they didn't need any salt.
Feeling a little salty
Hill.
about that. All right.
Mrs. Hager.
Cut his mic.
Mrs. Seaval.
Yes,
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Mrs. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Resolution is adopted. Next resolution is resolution number 2025-48. Mr. Hill.
Resolution number 2025-48, a resolution authorizing and directing the auditor of the City of Mount Vernon to make supplemental appropriations.
Mrs. Seabold.
thank you. I would like to suspend the rules that require 3 separate readings and take resolution number 2025-48 to its third and final reading.
Second.
And move to second for the suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Hill.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mrs. Seaval.
Yes,
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Mrs. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
The rule is suspended. Mrs. Seabold.
thank you. I move to adopt resolution number 2025-48.
Second.
And move to second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mrs. Seabold.
Thank you. Hi, Dan.
Hi.
Going to talk about, looks like we're paying some bills here.
Sure, yeah, in a way. So on the first one of these is a $94,437 reimbursement that engineering got from ODOT, tied to some grant dollars. So it's going back in the, it's increasing the asphalt, roads asphalt line for them. And the second one of these, Jeff, our recreation director, was supposed to go to a conference and canceled, so we're returning the money to the line so he can go to another conference if he so chooses.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so that's
Any
about it.
questions?
Any other discussion? Mr. Hill.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Wait a minute, you have a
Wait,
question?
hold on. So it is not CD,
Should probably be amended to reflect that.
it is not CD.
This is not CDBG money. This is an ODOT reimbursement for property acquisition along 13. So it should probably be amended to reflect that. I only say that because we track CDBG dollars very specifically and they're federal dollars. So I think that should probably be amended.
So do you want to make an amendment?
Yes.
It's your call, Janice.
Gee, thanks for your mistake.
Hey, man, I didn't write it.
Okay, I would like to amend resolution number 2025-48 to take out the CDBG and amend that to ODOT.
Second?
And moved and seconded to amend this resolution. Any discussion on the amendment? Mr. Hill.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mrs. Seaval,
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan,
Yes.
Mrs. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
This resolution has been amended. Now we go back to the original motion as amended. Mrs. Sewell.
I would like to adopt resolution number 2025-48 as amended.
Second?
And moved and seconded that this resolution be adopted as amended. Any discussion? Mr. Hill.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mrs. Seaval,
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan,
Yes.
Mrs. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
The resolution is adopted as amended. The final resolution for this evening is resolution number 2025-49. Mr. Hill.
Resolution number 2025-49, a resolution adopting the 2025 Knox County Comprehensive Plan as a guide for future development within the city of Mount Vernon.
Mr. Mahan.
We're going to give this its first reading, and I believe we've already requested a 10-minute committee meeting in 2 weeks to further discuss any public questions regarding this.
This resolution receives its first reading. We now move to ordinances. We have no ordinances for third reading. We have one for second reading. That's ordinance number 2025-09. Mr. Hill.
Ordinance number 2025-09, an ordinance amending the zoning classification of parcels number 66-05624.000, 66-05627.000, 66-05628.000, and 66-05629.000 from R1A Core Residential District to R3 Attached Residential District.
Mr. Mahan.
Thank you, sir. We're going to give this its second reading. Remind the public that there's going to be a public hearing in 2 weeks at this location in regards to this ordinance.
This ordinance receives its second reading. The final ordinance for this evening is ordinance number 2025-10. Mr. Hill.
Ordinance number 2025-10, an ordinance fixing the number of hourly employees of the city of Mount Vernon in the police department and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Woods.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll give ordinance 2025-10 its first reading. And if I could get a 15-minute committee meeting next time, please.
This ordinance receives its first reading. That concludes the legislative portion of the meeting. We now move to remarks from administration. Mayor Starr.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, just a few things. Mr. Pike, I want to thank you for coming in and speaking candidly tonight. I appreciate your participation in the listening tour. And even before that, when I have called you for council on transportation needs, you've always been there, and thank you for that, and thanks for your thoughtful comments tonight. I also want to welcome Scott Zimmerman, who is our new city inspector. Thank you, council, for that. Scott is hitting the ground running, and he and Tom Hinkle are already fighting with each other as they used to work with each other side by side, so it's like watching a scene out of Step Brothers sometimes. Anyway, also want to congratulate the organizers for Jerry and Joy's Easter egg hunt this past weekend. It was a great turnout. It was wonderful to see that be resurrected. Last time that we had it before this year was pre-COVID. So it's good to see that back. Also want to welcome Dr. McGee and your class of Congress. I'm so glad you could be here for this. Look forward to speaking at your lab tomorrow afternoon. And congratulations to Jeff Godke, who is going to be the economic director for the city of Gahanna. I know Mayor Lori Jadwin at Gahanna very well. We serve on the executive committee for MORPC together, and she's just about as smart and as great as they come in terms of mayors. And so our loss is their gain, but anyway, she still is very supportive of Mount Vernon. So anyway, and then I also want to welcome Dan Parsons is one of a couple who will be replacing Bruce McPherson. So anyway, Dan, welcome. Thanks for getting us through and directing our AV tonight. So that is all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Siders.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome back. I just want to also thank the organizers for the Jerry and Joy Easter egg hunt. I think we had over 150 children and parents attend that, so that was well attended. Also want to let everybody know that this week is the last week to sign up for the yard sale trail that will be happening on April 26th and the 27th. And then what you don't sell that weekend, you can throw away the next weekend. May 3rd is the spring cleanup at Ariel Foundation Park. So we'll be posting all of that online, and remember to sign up for the yard sale trail, and then we will publish your address, assuming you give us permission, that so folks can come in and enjoy your yard sale. Other than that, that's all I've got. Happy Passover to those who celebrate. Chag Pasach Sameach, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brenton.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to note gratitude on the birth of my son. Thank God for it, and my wife. So,
I can't top that. Nothing.
Nothing? All right. Mr. Braun.
I have nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Woods.
I didn't have anybody give birth either, so thank you.
Mr. Severance.
Yeah, just two quick things here tonight. I always say quick and then I'm not quick, but I do want to encourage Ohio voters to vote yes on issue 2. This is frankly a no-brainer. We need to support issue 2. It is essentially free money. We have received, Knox County, millions of dollars. In fact, I think we're going to try to get a number at some point. Brian will have fun doing that. But over the past 39 years, but every 10 years, the state of Ohio, the residents, the voters have to vote to pass this issue. But it's essentially earmarking money for counties and cities to make improvements to roads and water. And so, and it's no new tax. So, right? And it's not a tariff or anything. It is actually just smart. We need to pass this so that we can get money, and I know it helps the city of Mount Vernon. Early voting's already in progress, and May 6th is the actual vote day. I want to just point something quickly out. I don't know if you get the Knox Weekly News, but I was just captured by this little article. This was actually a couple weeks ago from the Danville Sanctuary, and we just have people all over the county doing really good things a lot. I just enjoyed reading this article and was appreciative of the people. There's a lady that's been cooking 50 meals a day, every day, for years. What's her name? I want to get her name because I want to say it publicly. Her name is Kathy Worley, and she cooks meals, fresh meals every day. This is not frozen stuff. They make 50 meals a day, folks, and then they have volunteers that use their own cars to take these meals in eastern Knox County, which is out toward Kenyon College. And, you know, sometimes we just kind of forget the people behind the scenes that do stuff like this. I just was really impressed. I think that's admirable. So, thanks.
Thank you. It's good to give people like that accolades because they deserve it.
Yep.
Mr. Mahan.
Thank you, sir. I was part of the Housing Council a couple weeks ago, which reviews the tax abatements for the city of Mount Vernon. I pulled, there was some interesting information I thought would be good for the public to know that in permits over the last 3 years, we've had $117.8 million in construction permits, and that includes $37.5 million in housing. So that's a significant amount of investment in Mount Vernon over a 3-year period. I think it's something to be happy about, and there were no appeals, so that was just an informational meeting. But a lot of good stuff going on with the rehabilitation of housing and new housing as well. And I want to wish everyone a happy Easter, and hope they will take the opportunity to consider the meaning of that in their life. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ruckman.
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Mrs. Siebel.
Thank you. I wanted to ask, when did Brittany have her baby?
March 29th.
March-
10 p.m. 10:47 p.m.
How big a baby was it?
6 pounds 12, I think.
Don't
better
say
know that
thank you.
answer.
Better know that.
That's technically a HIPAA violation.
If not, just make a number up, we won't know.
That's right.
8 pounds, 6 ounces.
Well, you tell her how excited we all are.
Oh, thank you. I will.
And I wish everybody a happy Easter, and I hope you get with your loved ones. And just like Jay said, remember the season. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Hager.
I just wanted to say thank you again for the warm welcome I've gotten, and I've had some really fun things like going out with Aaron and spending hours in water treatment plants, and with Jeff Durr looking at all the parks, and I just really, it's been really excellent as a new council person, and I also wanted to wish everyone a happy Easter.
Thank you. Again, thank you for the students from Kenyon for being here and their professor. It's nice to have company here. Thank you, the media, for being here this evening. That being said, I call for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
Then moving to second, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. We are adjourned.
Look, you're ahead.